Welcome to Closed Captions. Woo!
You out here still online?
Yeah,
Closing captions.
So we're out here tonight in the heart of Super Brooklyn. So, welcome to Closed Captions, as Nay Marie so kindly threw out here. Tonight we have our usual suspects, and we are grateful that they're here. We're going to discuss the topic, and we're going to fly through it. We would like everybody to introduce themselves, just so, any social media handles, anything y'all got going on, projects, anything that you might want to share. Because I feel like we don't do that enough. People need to know what we're actually working on. So, how about we start with you, Mother?
I'll start it off with Joshua Samra. Ethiopian is the social media stuff. Ethiopian. I'm a spiritual technologist, communications artist, I'm a healer. My main project right now is fathering. We've been working on that a lot. If y'all want to support that, put resources to that, that's fine too. You know what I mean? It's a big undertaking. But yeah, I just finished with the Never Olympics Festival, so I can fall back and observe the universe since then.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. So, we don't know who you are.
Me. Okay, so I'm Nay Marie. I'm the founder of Captions Ep2. Shout out to everybody who's watching on Instagram. Captions Ep2 right now. We're on all social media at Taji Magazine. Taji is the epicenter of Black culture publication. And volume 16 released today. So, so go out there, tajimag.com/subscribe. Just dope other stuff on the site.
Next.
Hi, my name is Bella White. Instagram handle BFNE_epic.
Virgo life.
Yes, Virgo gang, birthday.
Happy birthday!
I'm just a big that's happy to be here. Move to the next person.
And next.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Tristan. I am a business owner, full-time entrepreneur, an enthusiast, and I am working towards being, specifically for us, the Black market's trusted financial advisor. I want to get us all economically empowered, well knowledge, and informed about investing and retirement planning, and how to circulate that dollar amongst us so we can keep great content like this, and Black people circles much more robust and developed and prosperous.
While we have a moment, let's shout out the salon that we're sitting in right now, which is Oh My Heavenly Hair. We are at the Oasis at 407 Lewis Avenue in Brooklyn. Shout out to the beautiful and amazing Deborah Airbag, who's the owner. She's also my regular hairstylist. My hair guru, the one who, when I think of something crazy and ridiculous, she makes it happen. She makes amazing organic and vegan hair products. So hop on that. ohmyheavenlyhair.com.
So, jumping right into it, we're going to start with the concept of inclusivity versus exclusivity and the dangers, or potential dangers, or if you see benefits within the Black community. So, I'm leaving it as a broad topic. There's something specific that this is being framed around, but leaving it at a broad topic for right now, just to see where your concepts and ideas go. So, inclusivity versus exclusivity and the dangers of it, or not, within the Black community.
Since I talk fast, jump in first. I think it's too broad to have a real answer for it, other than saying the broad answer is including those that's on the team is great. Excluding those that ain't on the team is great. You know what I mean? But how do you determine who's on the team is what the idea of inclusivity and exclusivity means to me. We've had plenty of conversations about groups who don't seem to fit our norm, and do we let them in or not if they are supporters and whatnot. My idea on that is kind of like, you don't have to be in my house to support me. You can support me from where you at. That's what Amazon is for. You ain't got to come to me. You can do it online, you can do it from afar. So I'm okay with the idea of people working together, supporting each other, But I don't necessarily think that means we all gotta be on top of each other, working at the same thing, in the same place, on the same thing. I'm real God oriented as far as like, you know what, God is everybody's leader and might give you some special directions that I don't even know nothing about and ain't got nothing to do with me. So you go handle your biz. Like I don't feel like we gotta clash heads about us all trying to get to the same thing. I also don't feel like we gotta all be working on the same thing for us to be working towards the same goal.
Okay, that's valid. Anybody else want to chime in? Feel off of what you just added?
I agree with that. But I also think that it's important for us to definitely keep our spaces way more exclusive than we currently are for the simple fact that they always tend to be co-opted and commercialized in some way, shape. So even with allies, when allies bring friends who aren't necessarily allies, and then now you get, I won't name it, but you get events and things that aren't necessarily ours anymore.
Right.
Well, I would say that to lean onto the times, the best way to have some form of facility is to be economically empowered. I think once you operate in your own control, you're not getting your own interests control narrow, and then you can make it as exclusive as you want it to be. You know, where it's unregulated, uninhibited. It's like it's what we do. This is how it works. So no one can come in and say, well, yeah, it's it's I'm fronting, I'm leasing, or I'm letting you use the space, so I have some say in what goes on in here. So I want to see I want to see the spook, or whatever the case may be. You can't do this, you can't do that. But it's like once you control and operate your own domain, that ecosystem develops within your own kingdom. So the best ways to me to have that exclusivity, so to speak, is how do we circulate our dollar? How do we tie in our own interests? How do we develop things for us? How do we grow ourselves in terms of like our wealth pool? Because next everyone said that's just like we have to operate on control what we do. And once we do that, separate, we can create our own separation, not segregation, but separate people is a very powerful thing that can stand on their own too. And then I just feel that that's easily the best way to just flourish in terms of like having real exclusivity, not something kind of fake, not watered down watching.
Yeah.
But I think that's the best way to form exclusivity amongst your own people. But that's a practical example of it.
Okay, so let me
Lots
ask.
of context behind it.
And I'm going to pose this to you, panel.
Okay.
How would you say there's a time where inclusivity is necessary? I feel like I hit you with a question there.
Yeah, it is. It's a good question. I think,
Still a very broad question.
yeah.
For a reason.
It depends on what it is that you're trying to do. Like, for example, if you are going into a space that traditionally doesn't include like the one space that we say, but you're going in there because you want to learn about certain things that space holds. I think that it's to your benefit to go in and learn the things that you want to learn, and then when you are at a place where you feel like you know everything you need to know, then remove yourself from that and create your own. So I think in that regard, inclusivity has its benefits if you are tactful in the way that you're using it. But ultimately, the ultimate goal should be to set up your own.
Okay, so let me
Infiltration.
Exclusive.
That's what I like.
go on. Go ahead.
Just to add to that, actually, to add to what I was saying, because I'm using it actually interchangeably, like the exclusivity and the inclusivity factor. The best ways for us to just have the best of both.
Exclusivity. Like,
Before you even do that,
do you?
since it's a general thing, let me frame it like this. Afropunk. Afropunk was an event that was started as a black-owned event, right? Eventually, it got to a point where it began to become an inclusive event, even though it started out as an exclusive event. Now you see very different demographics at Afro. I don't know if any of y'all have been to Afro, but if you have, past and present,
Before and after.
you'll notice there is a difference. Now, the question about the inclusivity versus exclusivity is, let's look at Afropunk, which is now white-owned. Do you see any negatives or drawbacks to how Afropunk may have been previously as to how it is now?
I think that Afropunk is definitely, it's a very different experience. The first time I went to Afropunk was like in 2009, and at the time it was by BAM. It was before BAM became what it is now with all the buildings and condos and things like that. And it was really a space for black people that didn't fit within mainstream America, whatever that may be, whatever people deem that to be. And so it was a safe space for black people specifically to just come together and listen to music that generally the mainstream public wouldn't play, and just really just be themselves in that space. And the experience now, it's definitely grown by the thousands, and it's the authenticity of it, I think, has been watered down dramatically.
Come on.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much. It's really unfortunate. I mean, it was really a really more of a grassroots thing when it first came out. It was free, open to the public to just come and enjoy and just be their authentic selves. And what it is now is very commercialized, and it's very anti-Afropunk. And it really,
Exactly.
yeah.
So that was what the event that I was alluding to earlier, in the sense of it was once exclusive to, first it was black punk bands.
Right.
So if you were black and not into punk, you weren't even going.
Didn't check it out.
Like you were like, what is this? No thank you, I'm over here.
Right.
And then social media made it, especially with us, I feel like embracing ourselves more and embracing the niches and everything more, and realizing that we're technically not really as different as we think we are. It became just a black space, and that was still in and of itself beautiful, because then now you have people who might have never listened to these black punk bands are now streaming them, but that was still an us thing. And then I feel like their website made it even more of a broad,
Had a documentary as well.
that too, but I feel like the documentary kind of spawned the event.
True.
Yeah.
True.
But then, like, you know, the website and then their banner with all of the no's then made everybody feel like, because it says no racism, you feel like also this, and they ignore the fact that it's Afropunk because it says no racism. So they're like, oh, that means this is for everybody. And I mean, I assume now for them, they're not going to say that it's not for everybody, but from my personal black standpoint, I feel like it should be for everybody. Sometimes we just need safe spaces for us.
You look like you have some things popping.
It's like money. That's what changed it. The money changed it.
That's just to me, the narrative always comes back to that. You know, when you don't operate, own, and control, the people who do, they feed, like Dame Dash is the culture vulture. You know, it's like we create the culture in many things, you know, but because we don't have any,
Because we don't have any.
because we don't have any, you know, resources, financial resources, everyone else knows that. And they know that we'll compromise the exclusivity, you know, for a little bit of change.
Yep.
And it's just like, that's it. Everything gets watered down. Everything gets washed away. And then when other people profit off of it, it's not the same. Look at it with everything from real estate in New York City, with what's happening in Harlem, Fort Greene, Bed-Stuy. You know, these are no longer ours. It's gentrified. BET became gentrified. You know, everything.
Yeah.
All our intellectual property is given away. You know, and that's why I'm so big on the love narrative. Yeah, we need love, we need all that good stuff, but like I always say, we gotta walk in true gum.
Yeah.
We need
Absolutely.
love and economic empowerment,
Right.
you know, financial intelligence, and we have to do both. We can't do one without the other. Like, it has to just be tied in. It's like peanut butter and jelly. You know, so you gotta have a sandwich with both. I mean, you know, it just comes back to that. Because
So-
you have something you
No, go ahead, finish, because I'll add on, because it's gonna tie into exactly what you just said. So
I was gonna say, like with Afropunk, you know, if that was us, like it would still have the exclusive factor, it would still have the cultural factor, the heritage, you know what I'm saying, like what we built along the way, and it would just be one of those things where it just became successive. It just grew into itself, but it's still ours. You still get the richness. You still get the like the exclusiveness. You know, you still get the, okay, this is like once in a year. This is the once in I don't get this experience anywhere else. But yeah, like before they started profiting, you know, and making real money, you know, and seeing it as an investment vehicle for themselves. I think it started 2 years. They started charging now, right? I haven't been there since.
I think this is the third year.
Yeah, it's third year.
It's the third year.
Oh yeah. Because the first year was 2016, I think, right? 2016 and this year.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, you're right. Like the crowd is just like it looks like a rainbow coalition of a crowd. And when I used to go to Afropunk, it wasn't like that too.
I heard this year it wasn't even a rainbow coalition. I heard this year it was like that whole span was like, oh wow, there's a lot of them. And then like the black span over here was just staring at them like we can't even believe where we are right now. I was
They
like,
like the VIPs and all that.
So how?
But I mean,
here's the
you
question.
before you go ahead, Will.
Yeah.
But you see that with everything over time. We start something, you know, we create the culture in something. We don't operate it. We don't control it. And then other people see that. We don't know how to operate and control it. Appease us with
You
something.
can answer what I was about to ask
And
you.
then it's just like the rest is history. But it's the insanity play over and over and over and over.
Why do we keep doing this?
Oh my goodness! This is why, like, so
oh,
me.
there's definitely an answer to that question.
Let me jump in here.
Yes, please do.
Please
Please.
take the wheel.
Because I hear what y'all saying, right? And like lately, I just been real specific about my language choice, and I've kind of divided the world into two groups of people: the scarcity and the abundance people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty much the basis of the systems I see on the planet, right? And so capitalism is a result of scarcity thinking. It's not enough, you know, supply and demand. It's not enough, so we have to manage what little there is and decide who's going to get what. Which in the capitalistic and scarcity model, it's built in, and somebody's not going to get it. Like that's economics 101. That ain't me trying to throw shade. That's literally in the textbooks. That poverty is built in to capitalism. It's a part of it. And so if you start a thing from an abundance place, which is Afropunk in its origins, it's us loving ourselves and saying, hey, we need a space for us. And it's just like love in abundance. I remember the first maybe 2 or 3 years of approaching Afropunk, getting close to it, maybe a block away. People who are leaving just compliment you. They look you in the eye and tell you how beautiful you are. It's literally love flowing all around the park. It ain't even when you get in it. It's like walking up to it, you feel the self-love and the appreciation of people in there. That's what that space is for. Out of abundance. It was a free event because it's like, yo, we don't have to charge to enjoy ourselves. You see what I'm saying? But other people seeing that, yo, that is really enjoyable. And that's not enough space for everybody. So now the scarcity kicks in. Well, we could charge for that. How much could we charge for that? You see what I'm saying? So as soon as you put it in the capitalist context, and yes, we have to start dealing with the economic side of it. If we always agree that it has to be done in a capitalist context, then yes, we always have to deal with the economic side of it. But capitalism is not the only system on the planet. And it's not the only way to run things. And so I'm just saying that is a real consideration for us. I just posted a thing about our mental health and how we often say to people, you need help. But the people we often say you need help to are the ones bucking the system, the ones who are waking up from the lies and the sleepiness. And we saying you need help because you now talking that freedom talk, and we all used to be enslaved and we comfortable with it and we agree with it. And so I think we need to be careful with always kind of just saying, well, this is the way it is, this is the way it's been, so we just need to get on and make that pop the best we can and still take the time to say, listen, we keep creating things like Afro-punk, like rock and roll and jazz and hip-hop that always get co-opted because of the idea that we don't protect our property. And I don't think we have to protect it in the way that they say you have to protect it in order to keep it protected, but I do think we need to protect it. And as long as you don't, then yeah, you got culture vultures. That's what they do. That's like, you don't get mad at a snake for swallowing a mouse. You don't say you should have chewed your food first, because that's how snakes eat. You see what I'm saying? So when they do what they do, you can't even be mad, because that's what they are. You got to look at yourself like, if that was your pet mouse, why you keep putting it around the snake? You see what I'm saying? Like, protect your mouse. Don't blame the snake for eating. That's what I'm saying. Like, we got to kind of look at some different approaches on how to deal with that.
Let me spin that a little bit. So you actually answered the question, Tristan, that I was going to ask, which was, how does this happen? And you essentially answered it before I even had a chance to bring that out there. So then, once something like that happens, two-part question. A, is there ever a way to regain control of something that has been lost? Now, there's a no and a yes. See, that's
nope.
so. And then, is there also a way to safeguard it from happening in advance, but at the same time be profitable so that it doesn't happen? Because seemingly, I don't know if y'all would or would not agree, it seems like a lot of times when we lose something that is black owned and we find out that it's wildly successful later by somebody who is not black, usually money has something to do with that. Whether or not it's being supported or whether or not they've marketed it correctly or whatever the case may be. So my question again is there a way to gain that control back if something like this happens? And then, is there a way to prevent it while remaining profitable? So, is there a way to gain that control back after something like this happens? Let's look at Afropunk. Use Afropunk as your example. Is there a way for Afropunk ever again to be black owned with the same loving culture that y'all saw before from its current commercial explosive standpoint? Now, I also don't know if you are aware, but their editor-in-chief of their magazine just quit and put them on blast about their abusive behavior, etc. Like, and that there have been several stories. So go ahead. I'll let anybody who wants to lead off.
I'll actually jump in before you two go in. Before we get into this back and forth. But the answer is obviously yes. But the only situation that technically arises in using Afropunk as the example is if it's white owned, that owner has the ownership to do with it what they please. So it shouldn't have been given up to begin with, which is where the problem usually comes in. Now, if for whatever reason they get bored or they're tired or maybe some media scandal that they don't want their name attached to and they're like, here, black person, you take this and fix it. Of course we can take something and do it over because we're magical like that. We can always take something and revert it back to whatever we wanted it to be. But from the Afropunk example, one, it would have to then be black owned again in order to do that because there was no way that, and even then, even if they got an all black team, that still was like, the owner would still have to say, yes, it's okay for you guys to go in this direction. Versus, if all of us here was in the board of Afropunk and we're like, yeah, we're going to make it black be black again. And he's like, no, you're not. It's not going to happen. So it would still have to be under black ownership to 100% secure that it got back to being what it once was.
Sensitive black ownership.
And I think really, I think at that point, you just got to destroy and rebuild. Like, you just have to, even if Afropunk, for example, is still white owned, then you just have to make something comparable to that and just keep the integrity there at that point.
Y'all can come to the Lyric Olympics.
I'm saying.
We're going to stay black owned.
It's dope.
Forever, ever. Alright, I'll jump in on that. Yeah. It's money. It's business. Like, you can always buy a business. That's not even a real question. The question is, who's going to buy it that has the capacity to restore it to something that's energetically what we talking about? You know what I mean? Like, I remember seeing Jada Pinkett perform there with her band. Wicked Wisdom, I think. Yo, I forgot she was an actress. For the whole time she was on stage, I only knew she was a rock star. Like, she's badass with it. They got money. Will Smith got money. They children got money. They could go buy Afro Punk. She got a rock band. She know what punk's about. So that's what I'm saying. You need somebody sensitive to the culture that's actually a part of it, who's performed in it. You couldn't have necessarily Ice Cube take over. He got money. He's culturally sensitive, but does he know punk? No. Because when he was there the last time I was there, it was like, this ain't a good fit. Why is a rapper from the 80s/90s at this punk, Afro punk concert? So it's not even punk. They don't do the bicycle thing. They don't do the skateboard park. It's not even punk anymore. They should call it concert at the park.
Afro Fest.
Because Afro is gone and punk is gone. Like, rainbow in the park.
Rainbow in the park.
Lots of music and photographers.
Okay, so that's a valid fact.
The new marketing.
I wanted to retort what the brother said from before.
Take it back.
You have to make a clear distinction from capitalism and free market. I speak truly
I give you that.
in the essence of free market, but because a lot of things are socially engineered and the way society is, a lot of things just get interlocked.
We have both here.
Interchangeable. But group economics, like cultural, black empowerment, whatever the case may be, what you own, operate, and control, that's free market. That's not even capitalism. Right? You understand? Like, there's a clear difference. And I think, not even to get too
I'm just
deep.
saying, our people don't know nothing about free market ideas. They know capitalism. We play capitalism.
Check this out. You're absolutely right. And that is exactly why.
That's what I said earlier.
The
Like,
insanity
you doing
keeps
capitalism.
over and over
That's
and
right.
over again. But
Well, look at that. Y'all agree.
no,
We ain't
bro,
playing.
that's just like for the audience. Because I want the audience to understand, like, there has to be a clear distinction about, like, what capitalism does and what the free market does. Communities, real communities, practice the free market because it's the savings and loans, the theaters, the health clinics, the salons, everything is co-opted together, right? So it's communal. It's a community of people. We own this. So we circulate our own economy. That has nothing to do with capitalism. That's a free market amongst the people. And we need to practice that much more.
Absolutely that.
Once we don't have that at all. That's why we don't have communities like, I like the coin what Dr. Claude said. That's the person who, he's like my father in economics. We just populate neighborhoods. You know what I'm saying?
That is what we do.
You know, your local bakery, your barbershop, it doesn't make it a community.
Yeah.
You know, is there a black bank in that area? Do you have your own police commission or, you know, fireman departments, whatever? That makes a community.
Claude Anderson.
Absolutely.
Dr. Claude Anderson.
And
For
that's
those
my,
go check into that.
Right.
Powernomics.
you know, like, that's my mentor. Like, that's why I abide by it. You know, like, I follow his principles, and, you know, and he says it profoundly, like, yo, once we get to a place when we can actually form communities, our people will understand the precepts of how do we institutionalize us. So that's with any greater interest, whether it be the Afro punk, whether it be the hip hop, whether it be even the athletes. You know, like you said Jada Pinkett and Will Smith, no disrespect to them, but you know, they vested in white interests. I mean, it's
Facts.
I wouldn't even fix my lips to ask them, you know, it's like,
Not at all.
not at all. You know what I'm saying? It's like, in fact, it's kind of like, with all due respect, not for the public image, but, you know, for the people, I wouldn't even want them, you know, kind of directing out. It's like, no.
That was mad.
We kind of have a semi-comment / question. I saw your other one, Kyrie, but it says, excuse my bending. It's touching on exactly what you're talking about now. So it says, but the free market is a component of capitalism. They're not the same, but they're related, right?
They're not the same. They are related, but what I'm saying specifically is we channel the free market. We channel that. Because honestly, that's going to make everyone thrive. Competition, abundance, which means much more access amongst your people, which means much more innovation, which means much more development, which means much more of a circulation of the dollar. And that's just amongst your people, an ecosystem, you know, a formulaic ecosystem, a structure, an institutionalized structure amongst your people. You can do that. You understand? You can thrive underneath that. And just on a simple model like that can teach our people, like, yo, the importance of an Afro punk, the importance of a just name drop, anything, the importance of everything we gave away.
Oh, yeah, because I'm like, I don't know, we got too many black institutions to name drop.
I know,
Like,
but
at the Afro Punk and Crow Fest, I'm like, we got a little limit.
for those. You know, next 2 years you're gonna see more. You know, and listen. Let me
They can
preface
have
this.
fun, but they
Let me
can't have
preface
fun.
this. Let me preface this. Shout out to everybody across the world. Asians, whites, blah 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 blah. You know, this is not indictment on anyone else. This is just, I guess, self-love, right? And having a conversation amongst your people. 'Cause, you know, you may have one or two that may be watching or whatever.
They know what they're getting into if they're watching.
They
know what they're
right
getting
now. I just want to put the disclaimer out there. But let's just say, like, next year you start seeing, you know, more other people with curly hair come to Curl Fest. You know, and they invite themselves
that
in.
happened last year.
It's going there.
Right. And then you're going to see what's going to happen in 2-3 years. And it's just, I feel like every other community of people, they just understand, like, yo, these people make the culture, they're vibrant, they got this, they got that, but they just don't know, they don't understand how to structure their structure. So we could just come in and, you know, we sell them a whole lot of what they don't understand and just appease them with what they never had before.
So how do we teach our people that structure?
Simple. You know, I mean, well, this is why I enjoy doing what I do, because I love breaking ice with us all day long. And it just showed me how, like, wow, you know, I was like, damn, like a lot of our people, this needs to be like just the basics of food, clothing, and shelter. Like, needs to be instilled in us before the age of 5. You know, really balancing the checkbook before the age of 12, and really learning how to create and start your own business if need be. You know, just these things need to be implemented by 12, by 13. You know, what is credit? You know, how to leverage credit, how to use credit. You know, understanding your value. You know, not working for time, working for value. You know, like these little things, man, it's like, you need to start planting these seeds in these children from yay high. So by the time they get teenager status, by the time they get 18, it's like, yo, you would encourage a child to get credit. You know what I'm saying? That's not only going to help them, but, you know, I don't know, family business or just extension where these things, it took for me to fully understand credit at 23. You know what I'm saying? Like at 23 years old, that's when I fully started to understand what credit was.
Yeah, I think this shit at 32, right? I was like, what? 23? 23, I was like, I'm not getting a credit card.
But, you know, other communities, they have their children understand that at 8, 9 years old. Or like you see it, I mean, this not even to be cliche, but we know this stuff already. But it's just like, yo, we need to just get active in this now. It just can't be what we see, what we complain about, and the hysteria and the insanity of the same thing. It's like, all right, we see what we doing for ourselves. We need to be doing that too. And then you understand the inner systems and the structure, like, oh, this is how they've been manipulating us all this time. Oh, this is how they appease us with this. Oh, this is how they play into like our inner, you know, aspirations of what we want, blah, 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 blah. Like these things start to open up because no one can fool you. No one can, you know, sign your rights away. You know what I'm saying? Give you a bag to say, yo, I'm gonna give you $500,000 to get out your beautiful brownstone where you can't even appraise the full value of it. We're gonna write that off and then institutionalize that, put an extra story on it, and now we have wealth forever. And by the time you're back in the Caribbean and you burned all your cash, you're like, damn, you know, I can't go back. And that's what I mean with everything that we create. It's like, yo, we really gotta not even destroying your bill, but you gotta just recreate with the right frame of minds of like, all right, we have the right people in place to just go.
I gotta jump in.
Keep this thing with us. You understand? That's why, like, for me, that's why I say, like, I love what I do, because everybody has something great going on, but I want to make sure it's like the business health is correct and you maintain this forever. So when you're ready to chill and relax on your rocking chair, you pass it on to your heads or to your kin.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Well.
And that's how it should go. But we have none of that.
They're always starting from scratch every generation.
Every generation.
Or even starting in debt, so you gotta pay the debt
from the previous.
Right.
And selling off every single thing, every single interest. It's just like, yo, you know, we need to not sell, but keep it on.
And
okay,
also
so
understanding too, really quick, that although credit is great, cash is still king.
Okay.
I didn't even get into that.
and because we're going to wrap up this portion, because I know you had something to say. So say that and any closing portion you want specifically for this, because I have another question that's going to come after this section.
That has nothing to do with the inclusion?
Nothing to do.
wrap up that whole...
Yeah.
Okay. So as quick as I can, yeah. Like, I agree with a lot of what you're saying as far as what we need to do to change the trajectory of how we play this game. The main thing that I've been considering lately is the idea that it is just a game and that they've trained us to treat it like it's life, but it ain't. And And when I look at the system like it's monopoly, and you know,
Absolutely.
I found monopoly to be a really great metaphor for our circumstances, because if the country had been going on, if the game's been going on for a couple hundred years, everything's already bought up. Literally everything's already bought up before they say you're even allowed to have money of your own to try to make it around that shit, to come back around after just hitting Park Place and Boardwalk. It's got hotels on it already before you even start playing, and you banking your life on hitting go. Maybe getting that community chest welfare, maybe having some luck and hit the lottery on chance, or avoid jail, or visiting your people in jail, or maybe get lucky and hit free parking if you play that rule. You know what I mean? It's like, but there's no real chance for survival and success. You can't actually win the game if you start after all the property is bought. No matter how brilliant, no matter how great a negotiator is, nobody who actually knows the game is going to give up Boardwalk to somebody who has no property. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
So I'm saying, I feel like it's really crucial for us to know how to play this Monopoly game, because we in it. But I don't feel like we should be banking our actual future and legacies on this Monopoly game, because it's a sinking ship like the Titanic. So it's like trying to get the best ship, or even the captaincy on the Titanic ain't what I'm trying to encourage my people to do. You know what I'm saying? Although I'm like, hey, but get a good seat while you want it if you want it. You know what I mean? Like, try to get at the top of that joint. But what I'm really focusing on is the idea that there are different structures and systems. And I think for us to really get the freedom that we need and really desire and are born to seek, is going to take us having the courage to say, I know we've gotten comfortable using the system, but we've got to be willing to be uncomfortable to get out of it. Because our ancestors didn't comfortably get here. You know what I mean? It wasn't like they got hugged into this. You see what I'm saying? So we were beaten, like literally tortured into saying, you know what, this is enough for me. I'm gonna be good with this. Let me see how well I can do this part. And after a couple generations of that, you start feeling like, you know what, I can be the president, and that's what we should do. But I know Kunta Kinte wasn't like, yo, I just want to be the master of this plantation. I'm good. You see what I'm saying? So I understand once you're on the plantation, you done lost the foot, you gotta be like, yo, let me figure out how to limp my ass real good around here. But I think while learning how to limp, we always have to keep in mind, yo, I ain't trying to be the master here. I'm not trying to help the master. I ain't trying to wear their clothes. I ain't trying to sing their songs. When we talk about inclusion and exclusion, we include them every time we speak English. We unintentionally carry around their spy gadgets for them. You know what I mean? Like, and we don't know the length that they can go with these at all. And I'm sure y'all have seen enough YouTube that even if you turn them off and you do this, you do that, you gotta be a super spy yourself, right? To avoid being spied on something we literally paid thousands of dollars for to give them inclusivity. You see what I'm saying? So I'm like, it's a whole different way I look at the idea of inclusivity and exclusivity. Let's start speaking Kiswahili before we start talking about keeping them out of our conversations. You know?
No, wait. But I want you to then add on, because this is going to be for everybody, because it's, Kari said, but most personalities would rather occupy space versus controlling space. Most people hit the snooze button when it's time to wake up. How do we increase the perceived? Of course. Sorry, y'all.
I think that's an unqualified statement. Say most.
It says most people hit the snooze button when it's time to wake up. How do we increase the perceived value of the caliber of our people?
I understand the sentiment. I don't know if that's an accurate statement, though. But
I just quickly, I want to retort that. I agree with you 1,000%, but let me be clear. Capitalism, that's more the mindset of distinction of I want to be the master. No, if we in a free market, right? When you're in a free market, you have to be resourceful. So if you're talking about scarcity, you do with what you have, right?
Tell me the tenets of free market, just so I can make sure that they know what we talk about and we talking about the same thing.
Well, like more so
simplified.
All right, free market is just like competition, innovation, like groupthink, working together, like a workforce, people who have good comparative and absolute advantages where you have your craftsmen, you have specific people that you go to, and with that labor force and that labor unit, it's an ecosystem amongst the people. So it's a free market. You have your specific people that you go to, and through that dollar that's circulating, it's making the labor force much better. You're leveling them up because you're getting whatever product you wouldn't get from anyone else.
The idea of competition is the one that I get stuck on.
No, competition is because it's a like
to like steel sharpen steel.
Absolutely,
right? I understand
absolutely, and that empowers everybody.
The question
especially
is like who's competing against who? You know what I mean?
Well, it's not even so much a competition, but it's just making each other better.
Right.
We're still gonna get business.
So that language needs to be clear though. Because
Understood.
competition for me comes from the idea of scarcity. There can be only one. Somebody's got to win. Somebody's got to lose. You know what I mean? Versus a cooperation technique.
Absolutely.
That pushes all force, and then we go out and compete against the other teams. You see what I'm
Understood.
saying?
So
Like,
then
I
it is
understand
better
that's
because it's just not just opposed to this one fixed idea of like competition of I gotta get you, you gotta get me. No, it's like, well, like you said, we making each other better, and we can both remain on this block and be prosperous. You have your market, I have my market, and we actually work simultaneously together.
I hear them compete in my neighborhood for the lot, like pow pow, it's my street, pow.
Not that type.
Not that
Not
competition.
that competition.
All right.
Other competition. So just like on a plantation, a free market would be the people co-opting amongst themselves, having to be resourceful, having to say, all right, you know what? Well, with the scraps, we can do something else. I don't know. Innovation. That's free market. If you get the
We
concept.
are innovative on for sure.
Absolutely.
The most.
I look at like the African countries where they keep showing all these little young African children to like be building towers, broadcasting towers out of garbage heaps.
And check this out. You know who's watching?
No competition in that though, but look
check
at
this
the
out.
innovation they come with. You see what I'm saying?
And
So I know
absolutely.
it's
And
ways to
Google and
stimulate.
Apple, they watching, and what they doing? They giving them a free ride, a scholarship, fellowship, X, Y, and Z. and just-
That's that
we
inclusivity though that comes out.
So technically, the answer to Kyrie's question is the education component. It's the fact that we aren't teaching the people who are complacent in where they are don't know that there's better. So they think that they're taught that only this portion is great, not knowing that all of this here exists, right? So they're like, oh, if I'm only going to go from here to here and I made it to here, then I'm good. And technically for us, that could mean having a BMW and living in the projects. I made it, right? We don't know that you can have, you can have a house, you can own a business, you can own a block, you can own a state, like whatever those things are. But if you're only taught that that one thing is the epitome of all the things you need to achieve in life, then you don't know that you should be doing more and being better. So I think the education component comes back to what Tristan was saying and Joshua also in teaching our people about where we need to go and where we need to be.
And also, I mean, the education component is really important. But not to sound like a pessimist, but we're not gonna get everybody.
Oh yeah,
That's
we gotta be honest about
You
that.
trying
Oh,
to.
right.
You just have to get the people that are on board and just
Definitely.
go to the top
Get
with
your
them.
teammates.
And generally, then people then start to follow because somebody has to show and prove first, and then everybody else is kind of like, oh wait, that worked. All right, we'll try it, and then they'll.
And the reason why I said, just to close it out, the reason why provoking, if you will, just the aspect of the economics, because if you read Powernomics or even Black Labor, White Wealth by Dr. Claude Anderson, he even says we even had slavery all wrong. Just the idea conceptually, we focused on everything with morality and all of that, and it's for them. It was a business. It was like, yo, man, you just the strongest labor force we can get.
Right.
You ain't
Civil
even really
War
person
and
like
the
that.
morals of it.
Right.
Yeah. Money.
And you look at everything now, a lot of our people, we're fixated on, no disrespect, all this pseudo-ness about love, and it's just like, everything is just off of business. Share profit. Share how we can really, now if you want to use a capitalist, it's like, y'all go ahead and worry about that. We just gonna keep galvanizing every damn thing and making you the harvest.
Everything.
Yeah.
Literally
Even the
making you the harvest.
Everything.
So y'all keep worrying about your love, whatever the case may be, y'all gonna be doing that forever. And then you're gonna be walking the harvest for us.
Precisely.
You understand? It's
That's
like,
exactly what it is.
and
This truth.
my point is like, once you just understand where things come from or what they really mean, not for how things have been presented or have been socially engineered in our brains, then you can make more informed decisions. And then the resourcefulness comes in because it's like, nah, you're not gonna get me. I really know what this is about. You can't trick me. You can't trick me out of my intellectual property, my human capital, my land, my resource, my people. It's like, no. Get out of here with that. And you don't see that happening to anybody else. They're well patented and conditioned. It's just us. And then mind you why? Because all we're focused on is, and I don't want to say it this is a whole nother conversation, but just things that, I don't want to say they don't matter, but things that don't really matter presently, like morality and love and, you know, it's just like, yo, those things, we've been talk for like how long? You know, and why are we just only talking that talk? Everybody is just saying, keep doing that, we're going to make you the hardest.
Divine Being 33 had said, black people lost their juju, we rely too much on their system, which is a fact. You don't think so?
We did not lose our juju. We just used our juju for
I mean the system portion.
That's
we definitely.
We are full of juju.
Right.
We are
Every
full
day.
of juju.
Every
They
day.
would have been got rid of us if we didn't still have our juju.
Oh, that's
That's
super
why
fact.
we're still marketable. It's because we still got the juju. We just
And it's
don't
check
use it for
this out.
ourselves.
They understand that.
They wait for us to create it.
You know that
and
that's
then
the
they
case.
monetize it.
That's because we
That's
are a
right.
commodity.
Right, like now
To
people
them.
are selling
They
like
use us as a
crystals
resource.
and
So-
things
so
like
that-
that.
Okay, so we're not even gonna go there because I already see where that's going. I already see. Oh,
Gucci now sponsoring these for like
Thousands of
thousands of
yeah.
dollars, and it's just like,
Nay.
oh my god.
what are they selling at? What, Sephora or?
We're selling starter witch kits.
Starter
I
witch
swear
kits.
for everything
Yep.
in my life.
Right.
If
Okay.
any of y'all go to Sephora for a starter witch kit, instead of any of these amazing black
Botanical
owned,
stores and all that. Yeah.
oh,
Okay, so
shout out to my girl Liz.
next,
Just saying.
next topic is a real quick topic. This one is
That
short.
business.
This isn't. This isn't the remix question. This is just a general question. This is something I've seen floating around on social media for a while. So for the men and women, it's going to be posed sort of reverse, and we might just leave it at the remix question. I don't think so though. But anyway, in order of importance in your life,
Where's this going?
I know. I'm like,
Already.
4 people. You have your husband or wife, your child, your mom, or if you did have, the mother or father to your child. In order, who do you put first from 1 to 4? Everybody pretty much answered 4 the same. And that was the X. So we can just pretend like they're not in the equation. I've seen that across the board. So we have
That's funny.
your significant other, aka husband or wife, because they specifically framed it around husband or wife, like that bond. Your child. Glad they couldn't see that. Your child or your mother was the other person.
To what?
and then your ex for that.
So you're putting
that's
the-
Yeah, ignore the X.
Okay.
Ignore the X, because everybody said X was number 4 anyway. Like, literally, they put them at the
Oh,
bottom.
just the level of importance.
Of importance. Let's say
Alright.
y'all are on your last meal, everybody's hungry. Who you giving a plate to first?
The children. I would say the children.
Yeah,
first.
you feed the babies first for sure. But
So, okay.
Wait,
yes.
Tristan didn't answer. Allow Tristan
Even
to answer.
I.
You pointed
The boy
like
comes.
this, so I assume that was your answer silently. Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna give the full answer because that
Okay, go ahead.
makes, if we're going in order, in a regular situation, I'm thinking my children, my spouse, my mom. For the simple fact that my children will always come first. My spouse is my partner who I'm supposed to be raising these children with, and my mom has lived a very full and wonderful life and also understands that relationship and dynamic. Now, are there situations where one comes in front of the other? Sure. But generally, in a regular scope of things, that would be my order.
I agree.
Very economical. No, I mean, that's what it is.
You can be talking about rodents, he'll bring it back to economics.
See, everyone thinks of it, you know, as a basis of currency, but it's not. I mean, it's just a system of life, and that's a good structure. We don't have that at all.
That is
So,
Kyrie answered the same.
Yo, facts though, that is the basis of like the scarcity economics is if you had to prioritize who's going to get it. So we don't have enough of everybody.
that's all it
This
is.
is the basis of scarcity economics.
Children get it first because they're the future. Then comes the
Point
middle
is made.
adult.
See, y'all, what's funny though?
Point is made.
This is a scarcity question, but y'all answering with abundance mind states.
Absolutely.
Because in a scarcity mind state, you get Western culture. You don't put children first. You put
But yourself first.
first.
Exactly.
And then and then women become bad because y'all can keep having more babies, and I can't keep feeding all these babies. I only got one plate. You know
And
what I'm saying?
technically, also in
So,
in that scenario, your spouse would be first because that would be the person who you need to help you protect the
Right.
elder and the children.
That's why they get the big piece of chicken for the father when he comes home from work.
So it's like technically,
For the
strong
90
to fight.
right? Like if we're in if this is like the apocalypse,
Grandma,
then I
you
need
getting last,
you
you
to
about
be
to
like,
die.
this is why I'm saying I'm like my mom lived a full abundant life, so
You got yours
in
in,
that order, like
Because
You're
check this out.
good.
In that order, right? What you're working for, the legacy, your last name, extension, succession. It's the same thing in the economic. Yes, I'm gonna tie it all in. It's the same construct.
Get back.
You understand? Because the goal is, all right, my children need to lead and live a better life than me, and I'm preparing them for that. And it's a cycle. It's the same thing, like you said. Mother did live abundantly. She's an appreciating asset. You know, it's something that she really do.
Wait.
I'm gonna tell my mama to
Second.
that.
I didn't mean it like that.
Monetize.
You just drove the car off the lot and put bad miles on it.
But it all makes sense. It all makes sense. It all ties in.
No, that's a legit.
But that's
analogy.
only
But
in
that's a
terms of
structure.
food, because they getting smarter and supposedly more wise, so they're supposed to be an appreciating asset, supposedly.
But check this
If
out.
it's not about scarcity.
Well, then it does. You're right, but check this out. We're in a world where things. I don't know about the future. I mean, things are being heavily automated, so we'll see how it goes. But even right now, from the Industrial Revolution to now, things move more so with your physical body, your labor, that human capital.
Even
You know what I'm
the
saying?
idea
And
that they
you
could
need
watch
to be
the
younger,
babies,
fresher,
which is a real expense for parents, is to have to pay for childcare because they done sold their parents to some rental house. You know what I mean? To permanent Airbnb. When the parents should be there, that's the value.
Remember,
That's the value of elders. Is that why you gotta go grind hard? Somebody need to take care of the babies, and I shouldn't have to pay somebody to take care of my babies because I got elders. That's the major value is they
Well,
can
then-
raise the babies. You know
Well,
what I mean?
technically,
Like,
they're amortizing the situation. They're adding value. But then again, if you focus on that, then you're just focusing on instant
I'm saying intrinsic value. Somebody gotta watch the babies.
Understood. It's added. It's added. But the real investment are the babies. You understand? It's like developing.
It's one way to look at it, but babies ain't a great investment if you can't take care of them. For several years, somebody got to take care of that investment. Like it can't self-sustain. Period. So a baby is like a 20-year investment, but you got to nurture that investment the entire time.
What I'm saying
So
is-
what was your order? Because you still didn't give it to us.
I didn't give y'all no order because I'm an abundance person. We don't do that to people. We don't prioritize people in Ethiopia. You know what I mean? Like we gonna get in Voltron and all 5 of us leaving together and say we are one together. Like I can't do it like that. I could never.
Clearly,
play that
this
game.
man does not play by the rules of any
I
system.
don't.
by the
I play
rules
by
of
God's
any
rules.
system.
You know what I'm God game? I'll be winning right now, son.
But the thing about it
But
is, it's
just
like
love.
without having a system in place, that's kind of like not having a system or structure in play. Everything goes in disarray.
I disagree. Like, I understand what you're saying, but structure is built into it. It does not have an imposed structure necessarily, but I don't feel like imposed structure is superior to inherent structure. How can, like, if I'm growing plants indoors, which they ain't supposed to do, then I have to give it a fake light. You see what I'm saying? Which will never be as good as the natural light in its natural environment. So yeah, we keep coming up with these pseudo situations. It's not really conducive to our lives, and so then we have to come up with all these other things to keep that going. But I come from the root of all of that only matters if you say the system is irreplaceable. And I don't think this system is irreplaceable because it has not been here since the first man. You know what I'm saying? It has a start and it'll probably have an end. And if that's the case, I feel free to think outside of it and see what else is possible. And that's where I be coming from every time. So I don't mean to break the rules. I just don't like when people try to give me a box and be like, hey, this is a whole galaxy. No, I'm not even talking about you. I'm saying the nature of these questions because I keep being a rebel on how I answer the questions.
Oh, don't worry. You're going to have to answer the next one. The next one is the remix question. You got to give the answer to that one. We are probably at the point where this is going to, because it's So I'm gonna stop this live
Oh,
because I think Facebook goes on forever. We got laughs over here. It said, in abundance and scarcity, you got to prioritize people. Okay, so
I feel you, but I don't agree.
so we're gonna end this live. We're gonna restart it. So please click on the live again as it gets restarted. See you guys shortly.
For me, everything is like circumstantial.
Say.
It's really circumstantial.
But then again, it's I'm gonna use the economic variant. Everything is a planned approach, right? How you develop things is a planned approach. How you sustain yourself is a planned approach.
And FYI, this is still live. This one is.
What do you mean by planned approach? If you say
Meaning, you know, when you wake up in the morning, you know, I gotta take a shower. That's still a plan. Any way you look at it, it's like there's structure in that. It doesn't have to be so formalized. It's just the order of an operation. So for me personally, I don't agree with Taj. It's like, you know, my grandmother lived abundantly. Okay, you're wise, but you may not be wise enough to be here that long. I have to plan for this because if anything happens to me, the transfer of wealth, you know, my assets, my human capital, my love, my everything is going over to them. So they have to be developed. What the hell my grandmother gonna do? You know what I'm saying? Like, she's not gonna be here, and that's just real. She's not gonna be here that long. I mean, and what can you do, Grandma? How do we know?
Why did you make me laugh at that?
It's her hip. It's her hip. No, but I feel what you're saying. No, I feel what you're
All that
saying.
wisdom is like,
I'm just saying.
you know, it's
Why we have to
like
kill grandma so fast?
I know some of us, you know, our grandparents, great-grandparents are some of the wisest of the wise, but if, you know, you give them a blueprint and a plan, it's going to be demolished.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? There's no order in place. So it's like, what are you passing on? Because once it's gone, it's gone. Not to say that it can never be rebuilt, but we're in this.
It's because we're walking a fine line between, I'll say, culture and tradition and antiquated resources. So a lot of times, like, we look at our elders and we're like, they have so much wisdom, they have so much knowledge, they know this, that, and the third, and they do. But then also a lot of the times, like, how many times have I had to tell my grandmother, hey, you can't say that word anymore, right? So it's like,
Lord.
so it's like, it's the balance in everything. Like, you have to take some of the wisdom that you're taking on for yourself and then passing on to your children, and then there's also the bit of, please don't ever do that. Like, I know your grandmother told you it was okay, but don't go out in the street and be that kind of way. So it's the balance of it.
Absolutely. What's the ancillary piece? Who's the middle guard that's transferring that? Like, who's the transfer of wealth, so to speak? You understand? Is the parent. Because you're supposed to be the mediator between the times and the wisdom and the knowledge to pass that on.
Wait, so what is your answer?
With what?
He said it was the same.
Okay, so
It was the same.
they go all the same. Except, okay, gotcha.
Voltron.
And then honestly,
Don't
like,
hold hands and jump out together.
We talk about, you know, all of the things, all of the greatness that we are, which we are, all of the great things that we're capable of, which we are capable of, all of the but it's like, yo, how are we growing the community then? It's in if we're not even focused on the babies, but we want to focus on the elders. And it's like, yo, prime example. I went to see Dr. Claude, right? Last October, he had like a public speaking engagement. It was fantastic, you know. Met the man, built up a close connection with him, and it was amazing. You know what I mean? Like, I was literally like a kid in a candy store. So, you know,
Wu was for the kids. Wu was for the kids. Wu-Tang.
Oh.
Sorry.
Speaking of what you just said, check this out. Do you know, like, I mind you, Dr. Claude is probably,
60s.
I think he's
30s.
like early 70s.
Okay.
Like, and he, just by his body of work and by his face, he looks older than that. He looks like a man who's worn, a little bit tender from his work. Everyone in the crowd, except for one other young lady, but guess what? She came for like 10 minutes and then she dipped. Everybody in there was like 65 older.
Word.
And what that told me, I said, yo, with all due respect, they must be here because same age range, something to do. Saturday afternoon.
Better than bingo.
You're mad disrespectful. That bingo comment was disrespectful. Go ahead.
Check this out. You know what I'm saying? And I'm looking there and I'm like, yo, with all due respect, man, you know, and you know, I don't know what Heavy said, you know.
The soul
Okay.
food pork.
Yes. And I'm like, with everything that Dr. Claude has given us, which was in the book, because he kept referencing it's in the book, people asking all these questions. I read all his books.
Yeah.
And when somebody asks a question, I'm like, yo, did you read the book? Information is right there.
Something to do.
Which validates the point too. And I'm just like, what are these elders going to do? You understand? Because, I mean, I can't judge, I don't know. But it looked like a lot of them, it was a Saturday afternoon. I don't think any one of them rushed home and said, yo, put the kids down, turn the TV off. We got to speak. This is the new day, this is what we got to do. You know, we have one of the vanguards of black excellence, black economical power, you know, a man fighting for us. The only man in history that actually put up his own money to get us reparations. Battled the Supreme Court 3 times on 3 different occasions. You know what I'm saying? Came up with a system, a business model for us to be the absolute dominators of seafood at a time when his Harvest Institute, they did some research and analytical data where it came up that, you know, black people, we eat the most seafood. Needless to say, you know, we seafood, black people. He came up with a system and said, all right, let's not only be consumers, but let's be the owners of it. So we can actually have an absolute advantage in an industry that we actually dominate, and then that's a great way that we can circulate a dollar. You know, we could start talking about developing real communities, real black economic empowerment, well, blah, 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 blah. Pretty much, he exhausted it so much trying to get us into it, the Asians kept knocking the door like, yo, are you still trying to get your people on it? All right, we'll come back next year with a bigger bag. Came back with a bigger bag, like, are you ready? Oh, you still trying to get your people, right? All right, cool, we'll come back next year. Came back with a bigger bag, like, are you ready? Oh, you ain't get your people yet, huh? You gonna keep trying, all right. Until he just had to say, yo, he exhausted everything and was like, yo, he sold all his interest to Asians. That's why they dominate all of everything. Like in terms of like how they get seafood, blah, blah, blah. But the point is, it's like this man has exhausted so much for us out of his own pocket. And even still, he gives out his own money. We talking about a man who probably could easily have been liquid in terms of this is liquid worth. Not assets, but liquidity. Close to 100 million. And he gave it away for us throughout the years, from the 70s up until this point. What to show for it. And even when he had his public speaking engagement, everybody in there was probably the people that was listening to him in the early 80s. And I'm just like, yo, why not young people here? You know what I'm saying? Where's the
Do
youth?
you not feel like it has something to do with the nature of the system being antithesis to our personal natures? Like trying to make eagles be the best swimmers?
What do you mean? Like, elaborate some, like, explain that.
I mean, it's some fish that can fly, and there's some birds that can swim, but that ain't their domain. And to try to say that we should all be able to do it because the fish are really doing great at this and they really have built up schools around this whole swimming thing, like we really need to get on this so we can dominate the ocean. I'm like, my G, we not fish though. Let's dominate the skies. That's what I'm saying. Like,
Are you speaking of that in economics? Or are you
I'm
speaking
speaking
of
of
that something specific?
you gotta understand that when we
Because
talk
every
economics,
ethnic group do their own economics.
absolutely.
And we don't do ours at
But
all.
we don't do our own economics, and that's the point I'm making, is that as long as we keep trying to do the system of economics that we've been raised into,
That's what we created though.
not the scarcity system. I'm talking about this.
Not the scarcity. When you speak of scarcity, now you're talking capitalism. I'm talking
Yeah.
about free market.
I'm talking about what our people know. They don't know what you're talking about. You see what I'm saying? What you were just saying is, why aren't our people more into this? I've been to some of
Check
these
this out.
things. Hold on. I've been to some of these programs. I've seen, like, who is it? David Kiyosaki. The one Rich
Robert
Dad Poor-
Kiyosaki.
Yeah, and Trump
Rich
have
Dad
a
Poor
thing.
Dad.
They have a thing where they have conferences all over the country, and they sell this product of either how to get into real estate or how to get into the stock market. It's a whole plan. You know, they give you a mentor and the software, and it's a big buy-in. And I went to one of these because my mother was interested, because my mother is one of those elders that will take that information. You know, we own property. I'm not against the money side of things at all. Like, I'm trying to get more and more and more property, but not just for the sake of being rich, because I know in order to do my own thing, I need my own space that nobody else can say a thing, right? But then I hear my people from other countries tell me, yo, even after you buy land here, you don't own it. But in our home, when we buy it, that's ours. But here, if you don't pay your taxes, blah, blah, blah. So I'm saying the nature of where we are and the nature of this system, and we're not getting educated on our system. We're not getting educated on what free market really means. We're getting hood capitalism. You know what I'm saying? At its basic level, we getting, we getting Jay-Z capitalism. You know what I mean? I bought this T50, I'm gonna flip it to a 500. We just flipping it. We trying to flip a house because we saw it on a reality show now. We don't have an understanding of what you call a free market. We don't have an understanding of how to circulate resources. None of that is in our lexicon. It's natural to us, but we trained out of it and we're taught against it. And if you start doing that, they're gonna be like, it ain't no money in that. You need to get on this other system of scarcity. And I'm saying, as long as we keep playing the scarcity game, it does not naturally attract us and make us feel motivated to keep going because we've seen the history that it doesn't work for us. In general, I can see it for the select few birds that can swim in the water and a couple fish that can jump up out. But in general, I don't see it as a system that we natively rock with.
Comment that was made that ties into that. Kyrie said,
I have to respond to this.
No, you can. He said, I believe this part of the question is a good metaphor for the state of our culture. We fail. Feed the kids first. We tend to cater to the elders. Now you can go ahead.
You cater to the elders, man. There's no growth. There's no community. The lineage, everyone dies. Because the elders are the first to go. You're supposed to be here longer than them anyway. So if you feed into them, when they go, what do we have to follow? Nothing.
I don't really have a dog in this fight because I didn't say prioritize the elders. You see what I'm saying?
I'm actually responding to that. To the person who made the comment.
I didn't prioritize anybody. I understand.
Yeah, he did his own thing.
Because it's circumstantial for me. I'm not saying that there's never a circumstance. Yeah. What I'm saying is if it comes down to a this or that, if I need somebody to dunk, I'm calling my center. I'm not calling my point guard necessarily. I'm just saying everybody has a different thing. And it's who do you prefer, a center or a point guard? I'm for what? To do what with? You know what I'm saying? Because they're all valuable. I can't have a team without a center, is what I'm saying. And so I can't prioritize one over the other. You could say, you need tall people in basketball, but Spud Webb was balling on him. I might be too young for Spud Webb.
No, I'm definitely.
He was shorter than me. You know what I'm saying? But he won the slam dunk contest. So you can't just even say, off general, we want the young people because that's the future and the old people y'all got done. I do understand that. I'm just saying that's coming from a scarcity mentality. We don't have enough for everybody, so we need to decide who's going to die. And I'm saying that's not where I come from. And I don't like having to keep shifting my brain into other cultures' way of thinking to answer their hypotheticals, to keep us in their way of thinking, so that we'll buy into their systems and keep them in power because they keep making it seem like this is the only paradigm worth considering. And I just be like, what's other paradigms? And if we spent as much time exploring other paradigms instead of trying to say WB or Booker T, WB or Booker T, you know what I mean? Malcolm or Martin. And I'm just like, can we just put them all together? Can we Marcus Garvey in this mug? Can we, you know what I mean? A Pan-African really have all our ideas at the table. And really it be us. It's really Eagles I keep drowning. We've been swimming, I'm good. I got my breaststroke. I can't quite float yet, but we might get there one day. Let's keep trying. And I'm excited for us. It's you know what? Swimming is cool. We did good at it, but flying was dope. Can we just go fly again? Can we try that shit one more time? Now that we learn what they doing in here, let's try flying one more time. We might get it right this time. I just feel that way. I don't feel like my ancestors fought to be better at being enslaved. I think they want to get back to being themselves, to get back to their culture, to get back to their languages, their drums, their clothes, their way of leadership and governance and economics. That's what I feel in my soul. That's what's native and natural to me. And when somebody gives me an alien culture and says, hey, you could do great for something, you're probably right. I'm badass. Look at all this melanin I got activated. But do I want to? And when I look at the results, when I look at a Michael Jordan, who we call a great, and he's rich, and then I look at his effect on the world, it don't hit me like LeBron. You see what I'm saying? I appreciate LeBron's personal culture, not his wealth, not his acumen on the court. All of that is great. We got a lot of dope ballers, but who's going to do something intelligent with it and useful? That's what I'm looking for. And if it's not that, I don't care how many Oprahs or Jay-Z's or Jordans we got. If their money is just making them richer in a system that used to fuck us over and still does. Because we're monetized. I'm not with you.
I feel you. So, now, unless anybody wants to add something, maybe 30 seconds or so.
I disagree with everything, but I know it's
the way you said it,
and mind you, because there's still confusion between capitalism and a free market understanding, and it's like we keep shifting the narrative into like
You feel like
capitalism.
you can literally separate them.
Absolutely.
In our current,
I was gonna say,
in our current context.
environment.
Absolutely. That's why we need to be much more financially intelligent.
Well, let me ask you this
Yes.
for this question. Would you consider the Jews somebody who or a group of people who participate in capitalism?
Yes,
And do you feel they have a free market society within themselves?
absolutely.
Is that something that you're referring to as maybe not saying we model exactly how they're doing, but is that an example of what you're referring to, being able to have free
A clear
market?
example. Bernie Madoff, the interests who control media, that's capitalism.
Mhm.
What you see in Williamsburg and Crown Heights, that's free market. That's a free market economy. Clear distinction. Clear distinction. I don't want to chop up too much time. I can give examples all day. Think of Williamsburg. Think of Midwood. Think of Crown Heights. Eastern Parkway.
specifically.
Free market economy amongst their communal people. What you see in media, what else they have? Some financial markets and the political game or whatever. That's more into playing into the hands of what we would call, and mind you, the full word is just not capitalism. These are how things are socially engineered. It's crony capitalism. I don't know how it was. I don't know the backstory about the history, but it was socially engineered to just take off the crony, and it just made the word capitalism, and it already had a negative connotation attached. So when you think of capitalism, you think of it in a negative sense of like what's going on. No, the full word is crony capitalism, meaning cronyism, meaning deceitfulness, nepotism. You know what I'm saying? Real scarcity, zero sum. I get it all at the expense of some stepping on somebody else. Crony capitalism. Crony capitalism and free market is a clear distinction. Our people don't practice free market economics, which is power economics, which is why if we don't understand and make a clear distinction and start practicing that application, man, we're going to sink and swim, talk about ancestors' love all day and have nothing.
Okay, so
Real quick, I want to say that we do practice it though. We just don't practice it on the wide scale that other communities do. Because in this room alone, we practice it. In our events and the things that we do and the things that we produce, we're intentional about being in a black-owned space right now with black-owned people, making sure that whatever money and dollars come from anything is going into that space and that community. But it's just not large and widespread as we want it to be. But I think it does happen. It's just a matter of making it happen more and then putting that education out and then making it the norm and the practice and the thing that I want to do instead of I want to do what they're telling me I should do on TV or whatever else.
And doing it on a bigger scale, a much bigger scale.
And I just want to
say
close
that
when I,
more.
Yeah.
Right.
It's important.
and to you specifically, but Jacques, when I mean just to clarify, what I meant when I said I disagree, not in what you said in terms of the idea of making it about like capitalism, because it seems like the narrative still shifts to that end. You know what I'm saying? That's why I said I clearly disagree on that, because you know what? Jay-Z and Oprah, real talk, they're part of the crony capitalist agenda in society. They're not free market at all. You know who was? Yeah, Marcus Messiah God. People like that. That's free market based. The ideas of Malcolm X. That's free market based. Mm-hmm. Madam C.J. Walker, even Harriet Tubman's mentality. That's free market based amongst the people. Not just like, yeah, I have an abundance and I'm good and I'm sipping champagne with this Zionist here and that person there. That is crony capitalism. And I'm not even speaking that because, brother, me and you, we on the same terrain with that. So what I mean, like I say, I disagree, is that the idea that all of these things are eloped together. It's like, no, it's not. Once we understand the clear distinction of the two, then it's like, oh, okay, I see what's going on over here.
Like,
that's what I mean.
I give you that. And that's why we kind of like, in this context, just because, there's not an apparatus that is teaching what you're saying to us. Even if you go to school. I went to school for business. That's why I don't do business. Literally. I was so turned off by studying business. I was literally appalled at what I read in the 101 books. Like, these politicians been lying. They said they was going to get rid of poverty.
Absolutely.
And it is built into their system. Mm-hmm. As a requirement. So I take it from that part of
absolutely.
As I came up learning from whether it be, social cues of family, whether it be TV, music, radio, or even going to business school. Never was I taught the idea of an actual free market. I was taught capitalism on capitalism on capitalism. It's a dog-eat-dog world. It's me and you. Life's a bitch and you die. Like that's the economic system. It's scarcity. It's what's taught, and everything based on scarcity. It's greed, and the business models they teach are it's not enough. You got to get yours. You got to have the competitive advantage. Even I do a lot of health studies when I'm studying mental and emotional health. Anytime I come across it from a European standpoint, it's always about how to improve the workplace. So the same way you always like put it into economics right now, like I get it, like that's the game. That's where we are, and if you don't know that's the game, you're gonna lose it. You know what I mean? Like, so I get that. I'm very clear. And my only distinction is that shit's monopoly. It's something I can put on the shelf and play it when I want to. It's not actually required for my existence or my life or my happiness and none of that. And I think if we get that, then we can engage the game on a different level. It doesn't seem so life or death, such that if I look at it, I'm like, I'm a black man, let me look at my odds in this game. Not looking so good. Why would I want to play this game then? You see what I'm saying? Like, everything is not only the odds are against me, but like, just by the nature of me walking in, all the other players in the game look at me like, you that losing ass nigga. Like, how many times we gotta see the Asians beating us or disrespecting us in their language, or any other people that can speak something other than English, because that's all we speak when we giving them all our money. They can talk about us right there, cleaning our nails and whatnot. These nasty ass niggas' nails. Ugh, God, I hate this.
And mind you,
let's charge them extra $20 in telling us for the special. You know what I mean?
Protecting themselves.
Exactly.
From all of the chemicals.
Exactly.
Exposing us to it.
We have nobody. So for me, it always comes down to more of the internal work that we need to do, just valuing ourselves and loving ourselves. I say that not as like a hokey pokey thing, but like on some scientifics. Like, I study the science of our well-being and our mental states and our emotional states and things like isolation. Like, this is my next article. You're gonna get it the next couple of days about the effects of isolation on us. Because to make a drug, which we all know, no matter which drug it is, it has a dangerous side effect. They call it side effects. It's just the effects of a drug. But if the way you make a drug is by extracting it and isolating it from its natural environment. You take the arsenic out of apple seeds and now it's poison. You eat an apple with the seeds, no poison. But you extract it, isolate it, now it's poisonous. So you got all these African people that were extracted from their communities and isolated. And so now we got these toxic side effects or dysfunctions, and then you throw us all back together. And so until we actually deal with the healing, I don't think we have the clarity of mind, the well-being to actually succeed playing this game. We don't have clarity of mind. We don't even trust each other. How we gonna have a business without trusting each other? It don't work like that. Even if you write up papers, I don't care. Black people in papers don't care about trusting. You know what I mean? We've just been screwed over so many times by this system. The idea of us getting excited about trying to win usually comes from a brother being connected to somebody like Claude Edison. You see an example, something that fires you up. But if you don't have that, if you ain't ever been to a Claude or anybody's lecture, you ain't seeing closed caption of Taiji magazine. You seeing Cardi B, you seeing Migos, you going to school in the Bronx, and that's your whole life. You know what I mean? You're not getting none of that, what you talking about. So how do those people get to this energy you're talking about? Like, in this context of who we really are in the right now, not a theoretical, if everything is great and we could just all be educated about it, because we're not. And not only are we not educated, there is a system to diseducate us, to miseducate us.
So wait. I want, because we're going to close this section out, Benoit, and I want Nay to actually give their final two on this, and then we're going to do the remix question. All right, so y'all give y'all input to actually try and answer what he asked. How, in this current system that we are currently in, are we able to accomplish that with the people who do not have access to what you stated?
All I was saying was, I agree, we just got to do both. That's all I'm saying.
Well,
okay.
That's
so,
I was about to say too.
well then.
Let them expound on it, but I just want to make sure that.
Oh no, it's okay, Columbus.
I want to make sure like everyone is correct, but in the times that we're in, we just have to do both. We have to do both, man.
So that is literally the answer, and we have to also be intentional about being in spaces where we have to go to the Bronx, where the kids only know Cardi B and Amigos. Because if we're not going there, then who do they have, right? So if we're not being intentional about teaching them, well, first we have to be intentional about teaching ourselves. You have to do as much knowledge and research yourself so that you have the information, that you're not going in there and then teaching them more wrong shit, because that helps nobody. So be intentional about teaching yourself, getting out as much knowledge, making sure that it's not just the 65-year-old elders sitting in Dr. Claus meetings, making sure that you're there as well. And then being intentional about going out and spreading that information. And that's how you literally do both and practice what you preach. You can't just say, hey, support black business, and then you on the side getting whatever. I don't know. Thankfully, I'm to the point where I support enough black businesses, but the white businesses don't come to the top of my head no more. So, yay for that. But whoever it is, like whatever progress. We making some tracks here. But like, instead of saying like, yay, I'm going to support black business and then go over and support them, and it's like, understandable there are some things that you still have to give for whatever, but be intentional about it.
Yeah, I just think that, a lot of times, like black people in America specifically, have been conditioned to lose their imagination in terms of what they can do. And like what you said before with the kids in the Bronx, and all they look up to is Cardi B as the only example of what they can aspire to be. It's like, you don't know what you don't know. So having those tangible examples are really important. And what the two of you said, it goes hand in hand. You need to love yourself and you need to have that economic empowerment, but through self-love and understanding, you're going to make certain decisions that help empower you as a collective because you have that mindset to do that. And like, for example, you talked about, people just say support black business. But what does that really mean? Because people may just see that as a phrase, but not understand and conceptualize what goes behind supporting work.
Yeah, you don't have to buy something. You can make sure somebody else buys something too.
Or at the very least, like for example, one of my
share button is real.
Like for example, one of my friends, she has a catering business. Black-owned catering business, Artistic Delights.
Thank you. I was gonna say, what's it called?
Artistic Delights, and there was I saw there's a place in Bed-Stuy. They have a blog called Long Hair Don't Care, and they have a shea butter business in Bed-Stuy, and they were doing this thing where every Saturday they would let Black-owned women businesses come in their shop for free to sell their products. And so I hit her up like, hey, they're doing this thing. All you have to do is send an email. And I sent that information to her, and she was one of the people that was chosen, and she was able to sell her products there. Now, I didn't buy anything, but I put her in a position where she could sell her products and make a significant amount of money, way more than if I would have just gone there and just bought a cake or something like that. So that's what I mean when I talk about support black business. Not just buying one item, but if you can connect it to something that can help take them to the next level, do that. Yeah.
Facts. Remix time.
Oh boy.
This part.
So y'all have the option of, okay, so for everybody that does not know, the remix portion is where I ask some kind of almost asinine, borderline asinine question, just to see what the response is going to be and what they're going to give as their thought out decision making skills come into play. So I'm going to give you the option of A or B. Because I have two questions, but I'm only going to give one. So, question A or question B? Yeah, whatever the majority.
I like vowels.
Either way.
A.
I'm down with the team.
Okay, so I need.
It doesn't matter. It's going to be ridiculous either way.
I need you to each, in your head, right now, and everybody who's at home, name someone that is, let's say, celeb status, whether they were somebody who was a prominent figure in one celebrity, right? One performance celebrity, and then one historical powerful figure. And the powerful figure must be dead.
Okay.
You already know where I'm going with this.
No, I don't. But you just killed off my powerful figure.
And
You actually made them alive. My person was alive. And you said they had to be dead.
Either or, they can be alive or they can be passed. We need one powerful figure, and then we need one your favorite performer, artist, whatever.
Alive or dead.
They can it can be either or.
All that. Okay.
That's it. We just named it.
No.
Have you met them?
So.
Okay. So you want us to tell you who they are before we get the ridiculous
yes.
part? Okay.
I I'm gonna say, for me, the performer, Michael Jackson was one of my favorites. And in terms of
He's a
someone-
Virgo.
Yes!
Yeah, buddy.
And then someone that's dead that, for me, I found to be very powerful was Madam C.J. Walker.
Okay.
So I'm going with Prince and Asada Shakur since you said she'd be alive.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with what's my man's name? George Washington Carver on the power mode, and let me say performer.
Your favorite that you would want to see at the drop of a dime. Tickets came out. You could get tickets for free, or you had the money to pay whatever price.
I go with Bob Marley.
Okay.
Okay.
Tristan.
That was a good one.
We cannot use anyone that's been said.
No, you can. You're not limited to excluding whoever's been already. Yeah. So.
Because I'll name Brother Joshua and say Bob.
Oh, we agree.
We always agree in our various languages.
Our various languages. Okay.
There we go.
And
I agree with my brother on everything. Bob and Malcolm X.
okay, so we got Bob and Malcolm X,
Yes.
Michael and
Madam C.J. Walker.
Madam C.J. Walker, Prince and Asada, and Bob Marley and George Washington Carver. Okay. Now,
It's a powerful squad. I'm just saying.
it's a very powerful squad, and you have to answer the question.
Oh, man.
In my earth.
You have the opportunity to go see this favorite artist, right? Yeah, you know what's
I'm
happening.
about to throw my shoe at you.
You get to see this favorite artist perform live. One-on-one, backstage, everything, hang out the whole night, all of that,
I got
right?
the Apple Punk All Access Pass.
You get to do all of that, right? Speaking of which, just to throw this out there, apparently there was a guy at Afropunk, a white dude, who had an Anglo-Punk shirt on.
Yes,
You know?
he did.
But anyway, so we're gonna move past that. Let's.
Yes.
I'm sorry about
That's
that.
true.
So
That's
So-
after party talk.
yeah. So
Yes, he did. Yeah,
so
And the other church, I heard about that one.
Yes.
yeah.
Afro sold out to white people.
So your favorite,
A VIP.
you get to VIP backstage, hang out, toss drinks back, whatever, eat vegan sandwiches, whatever you want to do with these people, right? Have
Smoke a
literally
spliff.
the only one-on-one, right? But if you do, the other person you chose will pass away. But if you choose to not see that person lives, but you will never be able to see this person in concert again. Or person face to face ever.
I can't.
Yes, you can.
I was gonna say I can't kill off a side of
That's
Shakur
right.
if you let me finish my sentence.
Oh, George is
So,
staying alive.
as much as I stand for Prince, I'm not gonna lie, I probably could have killed off a few other people for Prince, but it couldn't have been Asada.
Not Asada.
Yeah, I couldn't do it for Asada.
Yeah.
If you knew you had, for those who have people who have passed, if you knew those people could come back if you chose to exclude that concert, would you then choose?
I got enough Bob Marley on DVD. Bro. I do not have George
Now
Washington
you
Carver on
modify
DVD. That's what I don't
Exactly.
You modified the question. Because that was the easy one. I'd have been like, well, no concert. And
Right.
everybody's alive.
Wow.
So now
I
if
still
you,
work from afar.
if you can bring that person back who is passed away, let's say the artist is alive and the person who is the powerful figure is passed, gone, but you have the option of bringing them back by missing that concert. Do you do it?
Yeah.
Bro. A reggae tune or peanut butter? You had a peanut smoothie, bro?
That's life.
That
So-
man also made veggie burgers and veggie chicken for the record, if y'all did not know.
I feel like
He did. He made a bunch of other stuff too that he's not.
y'all all pretty much answered the same,
Hundreds of non-patents.
which means I should just ask you the other question.
Which is.
Go right ahead.
Let's have the other crazy question. B.
Let's say you each have a child, which some of us do.
Okay.
Just one.
Okay.
let's say the child is 6 years old. That should give you an innocent stage, but the child is old enough to understand a little bit of what's going on. Mommy, daddy, whatever the case is, please don't hurt me. Your option is you can save the entire world through the torture of your child and death.
Wow.
Do you allow your child to be tortured and killed for the saving of the entire world, or do you save your innocent 6-year-old child and potentially watch the world die out?
Well,
You're guaranteed their survival if you sacrifice your child, but there's a potential the world in its entirety may die if you don't.
Including my baby. And myself.
Including your baby and yourself.
well,
And your mama and your ex.
Just on some petty, I might just take out the whole world.
Is it really petty though? Because I'm feeling like the mama lion in me is like, fuck y'all, and me and my cousins riding out, and whatever happens, happens.
Me and the couple against the world.
it's been a good life.
Yeah, it was fun while it lasted. You know, we did these 6 years together, and you know, now we're just gonna have to apocalypse it up until we last.
So you can look at a billion other 6-year-old babies crying.
I'm
and
not looking
say,
at
Let's
them.
talk about
I'm looking at mine
My baby,
smile.
my little baby.
Are you happy?
We happy.
Mommy loves you.
Living on the island somewhere.
That's it.
Away from
Like,
dying people, you know what I mean?
Just give the baby
eating the
this.
fruits and the trees and the berries, and we don't need to be anyway.
I found
Like,
that
yo,
Like-
you good.
Thug life.
Take it out.
Thug it out, man. It'll be alright.
Had a little glasses.
What can't should have paid for? Be alright.
You tough, right?
I don't even know if it's actually all these millions and billions of people you talk about, bro. They said they landed on the moon. They say it's people in China. I don't know, bro. I ain't seen it.
Exactly, but you know,
I gotta go with what I know.
Exactly.
My baby right there. You know what I'm saying? Can't
Facts of
And
life.
torture my baby for these imaginary
Right.
moon people.
And the other part is,
talking about?
in this land of scarcity, if I have enough bread for me and my baby, that the other crying baby, if I could break you off a piece of the crust, then, you know, catch you along your way. Like, and nobody said it had to be cruel in the apocalypse. It was just me and my baby to the end.
I'm a possibility thinker. If there's a potential we could all live, I'm going with the potentials, bro.
Exactly.
I'm not torturing my
That's the
baby
keyword.
to death.
To death, I was
What?
just about to say
Ain't no
to
healing
death,
in that.
no.
Here,
So I
So
feel
check this
raggedy
out.
for the rest of my whole
That's
life.
even an economic theorem. You know, possibilities.
Wait.
I'd rather go with the possibility
this guy.
as opposed to the finite destruction. So I'm gonna go with the greater possibility because there's a good chance we could make something great happen.
So everybody,
There you go.
you're in agreement with possibility, right?
Abundance and a possibility.
I
I
love
realize
this.
Will is about to strip this
No,
possibility
no,
away
no,
from
no,
us, right?
no. This is 2 situations you've agreed on. So I have to give you a third.
You just
This-
want us to
It was a
not be
nice
in
No,
this.
no, no, no.
All right, look.
I like this agreement.
I would torture the hell out of my
No,
baby.
no.
I'd make them watch
It is
Teletubbies all day.
super
until they
clear.
die.
Yo,
Okay,
real
so-
quick, Teletubbies is weird as shit. Go ahead.
Did you know Teletubbies meant televisions in their tubbies?
I didn't know that.
I think I did.
It don't matter.
But anyway,
I'm
so,
like, I thought everybody knew that.
so here's the thing.
If you watch it once.
Same question, but now this child, we are of age elders. This child is no longer a child and is a grown adult in their, let's say, 40s. So you had, let's say 45, you've had 45 years of experience with this offspring of yours who hates you
What?
from the bottom of their core.
Western
And no matter what you've done, they've continued to hate you.
They must watch TV.
That's a wacky question.
Would you, in the same token, take this offspring who hates you and has for 45 years and torture them and kill them for the sake of all humanity.
The baby hated me for the whole 45 years.
A whole 45
Like day one,
years.
fuck you, dad.
Like, cursed you out.
Wait, it's not a baby though.
Oh, no, I said offspring.
Not
I
at all.
specifically said offspring because now they are an adult and they have hated you their entire preteen, teen, adult,
All right,
and-
well,
Still
then,
Love is love. I'm still a parent.
He's like, baby.
well, if that's the case, then we talking about something different.
keep in mind, you're the one who's doing this torturing.
Now listen how the economics comes in now. Economic reality.
They were a liability.
The fact that you lean back and not...
Why would you want to spend the rest of solo life on the planet with a liability?
It comes back to economics. Go ahead.
Compromising the greater good. No. Compromising the greater good of everybody as a whole. Yes. You know, you're only as good as the equal parts. You got to get rid of the cancer, right? So everybody can flourish. That is economics.
Now, what if this... Not even... I haven't heard the rest of your answers.
I said I'm still mama line. I'm not giving up my baby. They still my baby. They could be 45 or 89.
Yeah, I still
Yeah.
torture my
Hey,
own
man.
child.
Hey, man.
Hey, man.
You saw it happen in Power, right?
So wrong.
I'm way behind.
Put back.
Seasons on seasons.
So let's switch it.
Oh man, I don't even want to.
No, it's the same question. But let's say they loved you this whole time. They're just an adult now.
Oh, you know that's my baby.
You keeping them?
Hell yeah.
Oh, so love is what the factor for you. You have to have love from the offspring in order for you to off or not off
hates
the...
me.
Because love is a resource, hate is a liability.
But then...
Talking economics, man, over here. Ain't even a question, right?
We thrive off love, right? Our people are, a loving people. That's what we thrive off of. So, I mean, if anyone is the antithesis of that, that's cancerous. You got to get rid of that.
So now, I'm going to say this just to you. Since everybody else... See, I had to get somebody filtered off.
As long as there's
I'm
possibility.
actually doing it for the greater good.
Oh, yeah.
It's the possibility part. It's because you left the possibility of people staying alive and it's not guaranteed it's just me and child. Because there's a possibility, I gotta keep rocking.
No, it's all, I'm
Think
giving
about
it
what
a
I'm saying.
possibility.
I'm sacrificing for the greater good of everyone else.
So then here's my question. What if it's just you they're like that with? But everybody else they're nice to? It's just you.
Alright, so I'm not going to say that, right? So what if...
No, I'm just going to leave it at that one. I needed somebody to get separated from the pack so I could target them for this particular question.
I mean, hell yeah, I'm going to get rid of you. You like that with the person that gave you life? How you like that with
You
the
didn't
person
have
that
to
gave you
add the
life?
hell yeah, though. You could just say, well, yeah, it's a hell yeah.
Gave you life.
For the record, do you have children? And y'all can tell that, right? Y'all can tell. Nobody is like, you got no babies. You don't talk like that if you have babies.
Hey, Keisha.
No, I thank you for that, for making that distinction because I was like, yo, you could...
Yo,
Call ACS.
Like, yo, I ain't got no kids.
Call
man.
ACS now.
That's real. I'm your father. Government of the world. You got to go.
I'm thinking about everybody, see?
Including yourself.
I know.
No, that is not actually how parenting works. They will rob a whole store to feed a one child.
Exactly.
That's true.
Yep.
No matter how
I'm saying that's
evil
true, like
that
I-
child is.
Oh, okay, I'm gonna make this the last one. It's just because you said
Second
that.
last one.
Would you rob
Yep.
a nut?
No qualifiers. Yes.
Yep.
I need to have you as the background person.
Right.
Wait. Better watch.
Wait, you'll hear where this is going.
I have something to say about it.
Okay.
Mm.
Would you, as a parent and child,
Yo.
rob another parent and child to make this is where the question. She already said yeah. So
I'm still kind of leaning more
So-
this way than I am this way. Finish the question.
if you would, why? And if you wouldn't, what are your limitations to make you not do it? Like
Rob
what,
another child to feed yours.
like yeah, another parent and their child, someone in almost a similar situation,
Adding more variables.
but just not.
Like,
No, I'm trying to give you that it's a parallel.
rich.
It's almost identical, but they have they're
Exactly.
almost
You don't even
identical.
feel it.
They're rich in money, poor in morale. But
I will take some money and leave some morality for him.
Exactly.
Feed your baby this morality.
would you swap essentially would you swap your life with theirs? You know you're gonna put them in whatever predicament you're in. Would you swap that and just take their good and give your bad to them?
And they ain't got no morality.
I keep going back to balance
Exactly.
though. I don't have to completely take over there. Like, just give me enough of what I need, and you can keep enough to.
It's not the option.
Yeah.
That is not the
Y'all want
option.
all these fair options.
I clearly
Yes,
gave you
me
the
and my
option.
child was out here robbing everybody. Okay,
Mamas is robbing it. They don't even care.
man.
Huh.
Yes.
Doesn't that go back to
Oh God.
Go say what the stressful word is.
that goes back to what we was talking about before about the children and the elders, but how everyone's so passionate about the children because they, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna take care of the children first, I would think, right? And everyone is showing it. You know, if you had to make a choice, because even if it's you against your child against the world, I mean, you're considering everybody, elders, whoever the case may be. You're gonna save your child.
Other babies.
Other babies,
That ain't your babies
They ain't
though.
your babies.
but you're
So
thinking
seriously.
about your child though first. You're gonna feed them first.
My mind works it out like, if it's me and my child, just say we the end of civilization. Like, what's the point? My child on some loneliness and I got to be your little friend all the time. It might be cool for like a month. But then I want to talk to grown folks, and they want to talk to children, you know what I mean? And then they need to get married, and I want grandbabies. Like, it's just my long-term thing. It's like, I can't go with it. But yeah, robbing other parents, that's a hard one, because I think they should take care of their babies too. That's why I said that they balling out. They in Williamsburg, and I'm in the Bronx.
Yo, shout out to the Bronx. We done made the Bronx and Cardi B and Migos sound real bad. It's not like that.
I did that because it traumatized me personally. So just speaking from my own experience.
I'm sorry, but
It's
I see the
beautiful things in
craziest things in the
I ain't
Bronx.
hating on it.
I've
But
been in the Bronx for like 6 months. It's not that
6 months. She couldn't even make it for a year.
I was young though, like we didn't move.
And
It
that's
wasn't
why
my
they
choice. It wasn't my choice to
I
move.
only say the Bronx because it's like the whole borough feels a certain energy. Whereas the other boroughs got they different spots of
And
it. Alright.
enclaves and
Yeah. The Bronx is like rough and rougher and
But
rough.
there are some parts of the Bronx though that you feel like you're in a whole new world.
Yeah, it's kind of feel
This is what I'm
suburban.
saying.
Like it's fact. I ain't all the way hating. I just
And also the
Yeah.
Bronx
Yeah.
is
Just
not
halfway.
the Bronx is not letting them turn Bed-Stuy into Stuyvesant Heights. They're real specific about no, this is Park Chester
They
and
tried it.
Westchester,
They
and you
tried
will
it.
not change it. So
Piano district,
shout out to the Bronx.
The
South Bronx is
piano
the one they
district.
coming at right now. The piano district, I think they call it.
Yeah, they're gonna try
They
that.
gotta
See if it
stop
come
that.
up on a map.
Well, that was an excellent set of questions. I hope you are all proud of yourselves and killing off.
Yes.
The word.
Hey,
world
when my babies
and
watch
the
this in
babies.
20 years, they're gonna be like, my mom rode for me.
Mama,
Right?
Thanks, Mom.
So your kid grows up hating you, and then you're gonna be rethinking it. Like, damn, I should have answered a little bit different.
Yeah.
This little mother that hates me.
Only if you don't raise them.
I'm too lovable.
Oh God. And on that note, this is the end of our live, our second on IG and our one Facebook that's been going forever.
Yeah.
We will be back again. Again, if you can, introduce yourselves and shout out your social media so everybody knows.
Joshua Sarah, Ethiopian is my social media stuff.
Nay Marie at Taji Magazine and also at Closed Captions. I'm over there sometimes too. Check me out.
Benawa, the name. The IG is BEpic, BEE_epic.
Tristan, I don't really have a social handle like that, but you can connect with me. All these great, beautiful black community.
It's all about
If you need
economics.
your, if you need your economics, financial planning, retirement planning, investment planning, just advice, budgeting, all that good stuff for us, the black market, so we can be economically empowered, so we can have these conversations on a daily and forever as we grow in abundance with love and wealth, and all that good stuff.
All of it.
All that goodness.
All of it.
Holler at my beautiful people. You can connect with me that way, and I am always available.
And I am hidden behind the scenes. You don't need my face. The one will focus on everything. Because it's like that. Oh, and Our Black Web and Melanating.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
JoshuaSarrott.com.
There you go.
Right. Yes.
All of these good things.
Everybody, please follow Closed Captions. We would love to move this to one space and one video streaming moving forward.
And
So
if you
follow-
decide you want to be a part of it too, hit us up. If you're in New York, obviously.
slide in the DMs.
No, don't do that. Just
Don't slide.
enter the DMs and
Walk confident.
say hello. Walk on. Exactly.
Right?
Inquiries coming in like.
All right. And on that note, we wish you a good evening and night.